Welcome, friends. Thank you. Good to be here once again. Thank you. Again, we have the amazing good fortune to come together in person or at a distance to contemplate and to apply the precious Buddha Dharma in our lives right now, this very moment, and to just enjoy it and savor it. So we have this opportunity once more. So wow, such a big, special thing. I'll just connect to that with really heartfelt gratitude and that sense of, wow, what a precious, rare, special jewel or treasure I have in my hands right now. So trying to activate that, this joy and appreciation. And then at the same time, like, wow, to extend that. Oh, may everyone, every single being, be surrounded by nourishing circumstances that uplift them and have them be completely connected, empowered, authentic, grounded, in touch with their own Buddha nature, the own preciousness that they have inside, and the preciousness that's all around us. So this bodhicitta, this awakenness, turn on, open, illuminate this heart-mind of enlightenment that we all have, this bodhicitta, great compassion. That's the root of all dharma, so we shine that on. And then thirdly, the pure perception, this devotion and vajrayana, kind of really to let ourselves believe, like, and if we're really kind of brave and courageous, like to just confidently proclaim the true nature as it is. It's perfect. It's here, it's happening, unobstructed, unstoppable. Just is the nature that courses through and through of everything. And just confidently, like kind of rest in that kind of courageous view. So we bring those three together, renunciation, bodhicitta, pure perception, kind of seamlessly ignite them now. So these three, they really touch to the heart. It's like the heart drop, the essence of the Buddha Dharma. Renunciation, bodhicitta, and pure perception. So always trying to turn our mind to that again and again. Not just to see it clearly, but to actually kind of make it, be alive in our lived experience right now. Pure perception, bodhicitta, and renunciation. That's the practice, to have that be an ongoing lived experience. So that's kind of the practice and also the challenge. That's kind of what we keep trying to do as followers of the Buddha Shakyamuni and Guru Padmasambhava. So then in particular, because those three qualities can activate and express in so many varieties of ways, then we have to kind of like somewhere locate a topic of this time together. And so where this is located is, I was on an exercise bike in the morning, thinking, what about the upcoming Ngondro? And it popped in my head, space in a vase. So who knows, that's probably just habitual bhakcha popping. But so that's kind of, I said, okay, I'm good with that. That's something I can have a little fun with. It's very deep, potentially deep. Space in a vase. So that's the topic today. For this, and then we'll go into our usual Dudjom Tersar practice. So space in a vase. So the idea that I'm kind of like, this is more like a poetic kind of like, let's kind of like artistically play with this idea, but in the context of the Buddha Dharma. So space in the vase. We all have a vase. This me. This is my body, my things, my memories, my emotions, my thoughts, my experiences, my history, my trauma, my projections, my talents, my amazing things. This sense of me. There's someone in here doing, it's kind of like operating the machine. There's something in happening. It seems to be happening. And it seems to be in. And then there's this whole area called the world or environment or this room. This seeming outside. It really seems to be there. There's a me in here and there's a not me out there. And that means there's a border. Me, then not me. So this topic, kind of how I'm orienting around it, is what's this inside? What's inside the vase? The border is where I define the me, my things, where I stop and you start, where I am and then the world happens that I get to be within, right? Samsara out there and then a sentient being in here, container and contained. This is a very traditional way of talking about this in Buddha Dharma. So the way I'd like to kind of open this today, that sense of inside. In Buddhism, there's two ways that can be. The space in the vase, the me in here, the inside, and then the outside. There's kind of two general ways of defining this inside. What's going on, this interior felt experience. And these two general ways are ego clinging, habitual me. And the other way is Buddha nature. Pervasive, profound, perfect, blazingly brilliant Buddha nature. So there's the small me, and then there's the nature of that small me. These two ways. In Sutra Mahayana, there's so many teachings on this topic. And so another way to frame this is, how can I both be a human being and also have enlightened nature at the same time? How can I be me and also continue along a path of enlightenment that dissolves the egoic fixation? How can I be me and at the same time dissolve me? How can I let myself show up as Dragpa? And I can scratch my head and I can have worries and concerns and I can be hungry and I can have things I'm scared of and things I love and savor. All the kind of weird little shadowy areas I avoid and the unconscious habitual bhakcha patterns, all the habitual patterns I don't even know are there, but they're happening. So that part, that me, that embedded me, the self, me, the inside, that same me that I felt was here yesterday and the one I felt was here last year and 20 years ago, that ongoing continuous me. In Sutra Mahayana, they locate it as being a sense of me that's at the center of everything, that's continuous and ongoing, and is more important than all the other things. That's the definition of a sentient being. The me in here. Set sense of self that continues through time. That's the center of the universe, basically. It's more important than all the other me's. So that's one inside. And I think we kind of know a lot about that one. I definitely do. It's the cause of all my tears. All the things that don't work. So this is the question here. Why doesn't it work? And the answer really is, in Sutra Mahayana, is that me doesn't see its own nature, its Buddha nature. It doesn't see its own spaciousness. So we'll take a step back. The sense of me, this small little me that showed up 41 years ago, or the sense of you with your history and your language and your gender and all the ways we identify and locate me, right? That human me. It's not bad. It's just how I do it, how you do it. It's, seems to be continuing. Sutra Mahayana says actually this sense of me has three qualities. If we really look at the nature of this me, these three qualities are, it's seen as a substance, it's seen as a quality, and then there's a way of seeing. This is Douglas Duckworth, scholar, practitioner, Tibetan Buddhist. He defines these, distinguishes these really clearly according to the Jamgang Mipam Rinpoche. How's the Buddha nature taught about as a substance? Well, it's the Buddha nature, the nature of Buddha. It's a nature. It's an essence, an isness, a beingness, a suchness. It's thought of as a ground. The ground of being, ground, path, fruition, the ground. If I look closely at my ego clinging, eventually I come to see its nature. It's thought of as a substance. The second thing is quality. Buddha nature as a quality. What's the essential quality of Buddha nature? It's completely without any sticking point. It is frame-free. It has no fixed vase. It is utterly flexible, pervasive, unobstructed. It is like space. Has the quality of being like space, called emptiness. Emptiness, right? Talked about as a substance, the isness. But when you actually go in your experience, what is it like? Flexible, open, unobstructed, not walled, not contained. It's the malleability, the freedom of that nature, the groundlessness of the ground. Then the third quality, and Venerable Khenpo Rinpoche's talk about this in their Shedra book, Rangtong Shentong. In this book, where they're talking a lot about Buddha nature in this book, they define two ways Buddha nature is generally talked about. These two ways are talked about as originally inherent Buddha nature. This is talked about as space, its pervasive emptiness quality. And then the second way is developed Buddha nature, as something we actually develop, like a substance growing, right? So this is called clarity in the Tantras. The emptiness, openness nature, and the clarity arising expression, unstoppable, powerful, active energy of that openness. The knowing quality of mind, clarity. And here Khenpo Rinpoche's talk about these two. We only clearly discern these two, both the emptiness nature and the clarity, energy, expression. When we see them as a union, the nature is both open and arising. It's a space within a vase. Emptiness nature constantly unfolding, expressing, connecting, arising, dissolving. So these are talked about as the three kayas: the emptiness, open, dharmakaya quality, and then the form kaya, sambhogakaya and nirmanakaya, this expressive quality. So this union of emptiness and clarity, or of the three kayas, the rupakaya and arupakaya. All together, they say that is what the Buddha nature is like. And when we see that as an inseparable union, that is called rigpa, or that is called middle way view. It's called a way of seeing. It's being, a way of being that's unobstructed, that's intelligent. It's called a knowing quality of Buddha nature, the enlightened self-knowing, rangrik. So these three qualities, this self-knowing nature that sees the container, it sees the expression, it sees the outreaching like kind of energy, sees the borders, the boundaries, the qualities, the colors, the shapes, the sizes, the movements. It sees that, and at the same time simultaneously sees it's just illusory. It's just like a dream. Whenever me, Dragpa me, or whoever you are, whatever your name is, your size is, your location is, your language is, your age is, all those things. Whenever that sense of me looks at itself and activates those qualities, if it's flexible openness, it's connective, energetic responsiveness, just naturally moving between boundaries, extending itself, caring for itself, then we can define what a healthy sense of me, this me inside, or an unhealthy sense of me. Unhealthy sense of me is always fighting something. Puts its wall and keeps everything out. It's really selective what it lets in, according to very strict rules about what it wants. That can be healthy or unhealthy. But really a healthy sense of me, when it connects to its own Buddha nature qualities, it allows itself to be intelligently permeable with discerning clarity. It flows with life. It connects with things dependently arising because it's interdependent. It has a boundary. It has an identity. But it's allowed to be shaped and to shape what's happening inside of it and outside of it. It's fluidly, flexibly in communication. So I can be a human being and also have an enlightened nature. We can have a favorite ice cream flavor and still have an enlightened nature. We really shouldn't see these two as being at odds or fighting each other. Like, to be an enlightened being means you erase all of the ways we express. Enlightened being can express infinitely. That's why they say Buddha Shakyamuni. That's when Rinpoche, Khenpo Rinpoches, they'll say, oh, it was Buddha. Oh, or you could see it as Samantabhadra, Samantabhadri, or you could see it as Vajradhara, or as Vajrasattva, whichever way. The tantras are flexible on that. Because it can be steam, or it can be ice, or it can be water. For beings that can flex flow in and out, what's helpful? It allows for the nature to flex, because the nature does flex. So it doesn't say, I'm not going to flex anymore in here. That's when we get a brittle sense of me that's always trying to defend itself, because it's done an unhealthy, unnatural move and locked itself in a cage. And now it's trying to make the world fit in its cage. And it's doomed. The world is not going to squeeze inside my vase. The vase will shatter. So how can I have this expressive quality that's actually healthy? It discerns what to let in, what to not let in, how to flex, how to flow. So first, I want to emphasize being a human is okay, before the how to become like a bodhisattva. Trungpa Rinpoche, Shogun Trungpa Rinpoche said in his Collective Works, Volume 9, don't be afraid of who you are. The key to warriorship and the ultimate definition of bravery is not being afraid of who you are. Examine your experience to see what it contains that is of value in helping yourself and others. Warriorship is the opposite of selfishness. We become selfish when we are afraid of ourselves and afraid of the seeming threats the world presents. We want to build a little nest, a cocoon, to protect ourselves. But we can be much braver than that. Even in the face of great problems, we can be heroic and kind at the same time. So how do we discern when is this small me connecting to its vast, infinite, spacious quality of Buddha nature? When is it connecting? When is it healthy? When is that interior spaciousness intelligently flexing with its boundaries and what it can? It's a clear no and a celebratory yes. And when it can really honor itself and honor others too. How do we discern that? Because the first thing is we have to love ourselves, right? Self-compassion. It's called renunciation. We renounce what's bad for me, the causes of suffering. I have to love myself that much to renounce all the ways I hurt, all the causes of my suffering. I care about myself that much. So I want to renounce that because I want to be happy. So why? Then it will naturally extend. The vase extends. The boundary extends. It includes more. Because you want to be happy. Because you don't want to suffer. So how do we expand our boundary to include more space? Then it's only his 17th Karmapa, Ojintin Lidorje. He said in his book, The Heart is Noble. This is such a treasure trove of so much precious advice. This is giving a sense of the difference of when we're like holding ourselves in a way that's against other things versus when we're holding ourselves in a way that embraces other things. So when is our vase a wall that keeps everything out with weapons pointed out? And when is our boundary actually invitation to mingle, to learn more, to be curious, to flex flow with all the things happening around us, to be interdependent? So it's only the 17th Karmapa. He says, when we gaze out through our own window of grasping at me and mine, we experience everything as if it were being projected onto our personal frame of perception, like a movie projected onto a screen. Just as when we're watching a movie, if we observe a happy moment, our heart soars, and if there's a sad moment, we at once feel low. This grasping at me and mine restricts our view of ourselves. It also severely impacts how we connect to others. It prevents us from seeing the numberless wholesome connections that truly link us to others. We end up relating to the world as if it were separate from us, something out there projected on a screen for our consumption. I'm not presenting a philosophical view here. I'm trying to describe what it feels like to experience the world in this way. As we look out through our window, we feel attachment and aversion. We accept or reject what we see projected on the screen. This emotional push and pull forms a major component of how we relate to others. This is called samsaric attachment, egoic clinging. As a sentient being, I'm really familiar with this. So then he says another way of how to relate to other beings, maybe some 5 pages later. The point I want to make is that love can be true and lasting under the right conditions. This is my own personal view on this. Love can have this vast, all-encompassing quality. It can be allowed to spread until it permeates the very core of our relationships. Yet often, instead of giving love room to expand, we box it in with our own expectations. Expectations make our love conditional on what the other person does or says. Our concern for the other person also becomes conditional on whether or not the relationship fulfills our wishes. How can you expect love to last when you demand that it meet your conditions, and you act as if you own another person? Again, how can you expect love to last when you demand that it meet your conditions and act as if you own another person? For love to last, it is best not to have too many expectations. It is better just to offer love. I want to share with you a feeling I have. I feel that my love I feel that my love does not have to remain within the limitations of my own life or body. I imagine that if I'm no longer in the world, my love could still be present. I want to place my love on the moon and let the moon hold my love. Let the moon be the keeper of my love, offering it to everyone just as the moon sends its light to embrace the whole earth. So this is how our sense of me can really become the biggest attribute we have when it connects to its nature. Like we can have, like Trungpa Rinpoche also says, it's such a funny thing to pop in my head, everyone loves something, even if it's just tortillas. We can have that little spark where we know what that's like, and we can open that. We all have this space inside. It doesn't have to be a locked box. It can be just like, just really outpouring and genuinely kind, engaged kindness. And this is just bodhicitta, wisdom and compassion, the wisdom to know the interdependence, the compassion to want to extend, to want to embrace, to want to include more, and to do it carefully, according to detail, what's really helpful right now. That means I have to listen to you. I have to tune into you. Not just what's happening in me, but in you, what's happening. And then, wow, this is the big miracle then. The space in me is the same as the space in you. It's the same. It's the same Buddha nature. When our own ways of holding, of expressing, when they actually help realize, wow, we're the same. This nature's the same. Then we're on the path. This is the Bodhisattva path. Then it's not a fight. It's like so much energy comes to want to listen to you, pay attention, love, care, learn, see my own shortcomings, see the ways I keep tripping up, getting stuck. Because I wanted that spaciousness, it just include more. It just would just be natural. Our compassion would just naturally come. Chandrakirti, the great master Chandrakirti, he said, there's 4 types of compassion. And Venerable Khenpo Rinpoche mentioned this in his mountain retreat instructions, I think, in 2010, PSL. 4 types of compassion. One type of compassion is we see some suffering. Someone gets hurt. We see it, we have compassion. There's an object that demonstrates suffering, and because of that object, we hurt. Ninja, so compassion. You know? That's one type. The second type is we don't see the person suffering. We see the cause of the suffering. Ignorance. They don't see how beautiful they are. They don't see that anger is going to make it worse. They don't see that attachment is doomed to fail. It's so sad, you know. And we can see that in ourselves too. I keep doing this. So sad. But I have this quality. I'm going to bring this out. I don't have to do this again now. That's what confession. I was reading so many interesting things. In Tibetan, confession means to separate from. We can see that negative quality, the negative poison of mind, the negative habitual pattern. And we separate from it because I'm Buddha nature. I'm not all this crap. I love myself enough to connect to the nature. So the third type of compassion is objectless, without focus. It's just naturally embracive, naturally inclusive. Compassion just is as it is. Abide in the ground, it's naturally compassionate. It's not because something happened and it said, it just naturally includes, without limit, all the layers of vasing, all the boundaries, and it just keeps going forever. Because the nature keeps going, because the expression keeps going. Inside, teeny, tiny, outside, forever. There's no final frame, smallest or biggest. This is really bedrock Buddhism. Emptiness. There's no final fixed essence, core, entity, identity. Totally flexible. That's compassion without focus, just like space. It's just there. The fourth type of compassion is compassion arising as a deity. As Chenrezig, as Tara, as Guru Rinpoche, Padmakara. It's full, like unadulterated, perfectly pure, majestic, fearless expression of the nature, utter proclamation of the truth. No hesitation. As Guru Rinpoche arises on the lotus, all the dakinis and dakas, just all at once, all together, the seven line prayer, just spontaneously arising, fearless proclamation. This is compassion arising as a deity. This is what it's like when we can play within any kind of framing. Guru Rinpoche can be a boat, a breeze, a memory, a medicine, just like great Shantideva said. The flexibility can take any framing, any vasing, and Guru Rinpoche just seamlessly gels with what's helpful, and that's how reality is actually unfolding every single moment. This is actually Guru Rinpoche just helping us again and again. Why? Because Guru Rinpoche is no different than me and you. The space outside is the same as the space inside. So then we have to break the vase. What does this mean, break the vase? Break the vase means be flexible to accommodate whatever's most helpful. Doesn't mean have no vase, no expression, no form. It's always emptiness as form and form as emptiness. It's always both. It means form according to what's helpful. Terraform according to what actually serves beings. And then we tried it again and again. We try to learn how to do that better and better, to accommodate more skillfully. That's why all Vajrayana is defined as skillful means, is the big distinctive feature from, in addition to Sutra Mahayana. The skillfulness of how we can adapt, how flexibly we can accommodate situations. We can use food as a practice, use sleep as a practice, use this as a practice. It's all Guru Rinpoche. So anything's usable. It's all the space, same space. So this becomes infinite vase. That's why they say in Dzogchen, single sphere. No final edge. Contains everything. It's infinite. And it contains all the vases inside of it, which are infinite. So there's no big war. It's only a question of what really helps right now. That's it. And so I saw this quote, and I wanted to read it because it's always the question of, once we ring with that, okay, this is the path, then it's always how. How do I serve more effectively? And this I think, I want to read the whole thing, but this is like, then I'll conclude with this. This is only the 16th Karmapa. This is good to have a Kagyu, the Kagyupas. It's good to have a Kagyu, really strong Kagyu base today. All these lineages and schools are so precious. So this is from his only 16th Karmapa. And it is quoted in the book Heart Advice of the Karmapa. And it's called A Reminder to Myself. Again, this is a question of how to become more spacious, more discerning, more skillful. So how do we actually grow the sense of spaciousness and extend our sense of vase? How? A reminder to myself, the 16th Karmapa. With your supreme intelligence, you realize the intention of the unsurpassable vehicle, the tradition of Padmakara. Guru of unequaled kindness, I remember you from my heart. I supplicate you, bless me with your compassion. I, Pema Trinle Palzang, a performer of 3 activities, from now on will take control of my own discipline in thought and deed. I make a firm commitment as follows to avoid thoughtlessness and senselessness. In physical conduct, I will not allow myself to be rootless and hurried, incapable of being still, carelessly following my every whim. I will always hold my own space and be adorned by the training in pure discipline. In speech, whether spiritual or secular, I will choose meaningful words and shun unconnected talk of past events or boring discussions concerning any of the 3 times. I will always exert myself in dharmic recitations, proclamations, and readings. In mind, I will not flutter back and forth like a young bird on a branch. Not getting absorbed in discursive thoughts of good and bad, I will meditate, cultivating forbearance and relying on my own perceptions, not those of others. I will reflect on how best to benefit the teachings and beings. In particular, the vital essence of the thought of all victorious ones is the true nature, the uncontrived innate dharmakaya. Without ever lapsing, I will sustain it with one taste in equipoise and post-meditation. In sum, I will hold myself to the sublime dharmic conduct of the 3 gates, not falling under the influence of others. Arrogance, haughtiness, or thoughts of self-aggrandizement, whatever of these arises, I will not let them move me in the slightest. I will remain firm, dignified, and fearless like a mountain. Until this collection of elements has rotted away, I will not waver from this way of being. Of this way, I will be a fearless warrior. That will be my quality. This is my vow, like an image carved in stone. May it be virtuous. Gods and protectors, work to help this come to pass. May the virtuous signs of auspiciousness excellently blaze. Thank you, friends. All in all, this is like a plea. The world is undergoing so much suffering. We all know this. Inside, there's so much suffering. I think we all know this too. Like Trungpa Rinpoche said in the early 1980s when he was first presenting Shambhala teachings, the world needs us. The world needs the Dharma. The world needs this kindness and compassion, this wisdom, this groundedness. The world needs us. This is not the time to check out. This is the Vajrayana time. In the Fortunate Eon Sutra, the Buddha was so clear on this. This is the time for accomplishment and for outreaching activities. This is the time. It's the best time. Everything outside is going to disrupt us, disturb us, trigger us, activate us. It's going to push against our frame, our vase, really strongly. Then we need to really take on this courageous approach. Connect to our own spaciousness. See that the spaciousness outside is the same. This is an opportunity. When that doorbell rings, when that friction happens, when we feel the pushing, inside pushing, outside pushing, this is the opportunity for Vajrayana. All the Vajrayana teachings are about how to use this opportunity. There's so many teachings on this. The noble ones, the true noble ones, like the Venerable Khenpo Rinpoche, His Holiness Karmapa, His Holiness Dalai Lama, His Holiness Sakya Tristan. There's so many noble ones around. Like they all have exact pithy words of advice exactly for these times. It's one click away. But then we have to do it, and we have to keep doing it, preserve it, and let it marinate in us and transform us and open us and flex us. We need to take it to heart. So really thankful for the opportunity to be with you all, Really, very much, very thankful. It's like such a fleeting moment. We're all going to be gone so soon. So fleeting. Whenever I have a little whiff of this, like now, on occasion, when dear friends pass, when loved ones pass, then on occasion I wake up, oh man, this is really true. Impermanence is really true. Really, this is take this to heart. This Vajrayana time to fearlessly kind of be like a lion, be like a mountain, like have the energy, the arising push and pull of samsara. Spark on the courageous view, open, flexible, spacious nature. And this is kind of my own wish, and like really, thank you all. We keep trying, we keep going, never give up. As His Holiness Dalai Lama says, never give up. Thank you, friends.
Thank you.
Thank you. So I thought to just kind of finally complete that space in a vase idea is that I didn't say so much, but the vase itself, the holding, the way we hold space for ourselves and the way we hold space for others. There's so many ways to do that that's really healthy and that's really finely and accurately attuned to situations. So there's so many ways we can hold that. And I think partly like whatever vase we have, whatever way of making sense, of framing things, of like whatever's our kind of zone that we kind of like are typically in, it's fine. Because we can't get good at all the zones. Like there's the rich wealth in every single arena or every ecosystem. Every way of kind of holding has like infinite variety of diversity and complexity and like so much beauty. So the big mistake to avoid that like really disconnects us from our Buddha nature is when we think my way of holding is the way everything has to be held. That's the kind of fundamental mistake. And it really closes us off to the Buddha nature in ourselves and others because we're more rich than that. We're more amazing than that, and others are too. But the final thing I thought, when we forget that, which I do all the time, it's an infinite history of forgetting that, not being connected to Buddha nature and forgetting Buddha nature outside. Then I came across this brief statement, a secular statement on the podcast On Being with Krista Tippett. And it really struck me, and it's like not even like necessarily Dharma thing, but just if we've made mistakes, or for all the time we like misstepped, we like took our thing and pushed it on someone else. We took our vase, our way of holding, and we assumed everyone else needed to do the same thing. Then this particular 4 lines were really helpful for me. It's like I immediately wrote them down. And they're like 4 lines to say like, before you die. 4 lines to say before you die. Thank you. I love you. I forgive you. Can you forgive me? Then we can really connect to Buddha nature in ourselves. If we have that bravery, that vulnerability, thank you. I love you. I forgive you. Can you forgive me? We've all made mistakes. We've forgotten our Buddha nature, and we haven't seen it in others. This simple secular way of just reorienting, and it can really reset everything. And then we can really open up and reconnect to this beautiful spaciousness outside and inside.